So it's preparing to go live stream. Oh my gosh.
Meeting is now streaming on Facebook.
Huh?
It says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yes, it is. It's looking for my questions. Okay.
I've got them.
You got them? Well, I need them. Um, okay. Okay, I think Dr. Ross, I think she's gone. Dr. Ross, you gone? All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and I want to get rid of all this other stuff on my page. I'm just kind of scared to do. All right, so let's make this big. Can you hear me, Deanna?
Yeah, I'm gonna just write some of this in the chat for you.
Okay.
If I can figure out how to get to the
Hey
chat.
guys, we're gonna be starting this in a second. Oh, here it is. Hold on. No. Okay. Y'all don't even understand what we have just gone through to try to be here. Let me see if I can make this big right here. There we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Oh man, this has been a heck of a time trying to get her on here. Now I have misplaced my questions, but that's okay.
I've just typed them in for you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, guys. Hmm. Oh, let me see. We are still lagging, but we're going to go on. It's lagging, but we are still going to go on. I don't know why it's lagging, but I did not do the share. I did not do the share because let me see.
You're talking about the lag in between you and what's on Facebook?
Yeah, it's very
It's automatic. It automatically happens. You can't have them both playing, so you'll be confused with what's going on.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me go.
So mute what's on Facebook so it doesn't confuse you. You all do it in real time. They'll catch it a little bit behind you, but it'll still be live.
Okay. I keep getting these doggone other people coming on. I keep getting
I don't see him anymore. It's just you and I.
oh, hold on a minute.
On Facebook, it's just you and I.
Get rid of that. Okay. All right. So you said so the live is just normal, right, Dr. Ross?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be behind. It's behind what they're doing. That's just part of.
That is part of it. Oh, no wonder. Okay.
It's the nature of beast.
Okay. All right. So we don't have to. Okay. So we don't necessarily have to share screen because we're already on, and we go from there. Okay. Awesome. All right, guys. We're gonna do. Thank you, Dr. Ross. Oh my gosh. We're gonna start now. Oh my gosh. This has been the craziest night ever in Facebook history, Zoom history, but we are here. And the thing about it, I wanted you guys to, I was not going to give up because I wanted to make sure you got this information. And I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger here. Because I want you to hear from this amazing young lady. And okay, we're just gonna go ahead and just go. I was trying to get rid of move that over, but it don't want to move. So it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna go with it. All right. So you said you tagged me in some present. This is Deanna Morae, guys. This is the young lady I have been wanting you to hear because we were talking about it's a center called the EE system. Now, many of you don't have any idea what that is. I did not know anything about an EE system till about 4 months ago. And it was introduced to me. They start talking about it. Then the more I talked about it, I didn't realize how many more people knew about the EE system. So as we were talking about, because my company They have flown and drove to different places of the different states, different cities to try to, take advantage. And then when I learned they had been doing this for a little while now, and they were considering, or they were in the motion of creating or building an EE system themselves for us and for other people who wanted to get the benefits of an EE system. So again, you may say, what is it? Well, that's why I have this young lady here, because I'm going to tell you what it is. Oh no, I'm going to let her tell you what it is, but I'm going to first tell you a little bit about her, because you guys, when you go back and see this, um, when you go back to see this, you're going to see that we had a lot of stuff going on. And I'm just going to give you a little bit about her bio, and then we're going to bring her on to just tell you a little bit. Like I said, we're in Indianapolis, Indiana, and people are starting to build more. We just built one in Chicago. People are starting to build more because they're starting to learn the advantages. They used to use these only in Nassau, from what I hear, but now they have allowed other people, people like you, like her, like myself, to also benefit from this now. And so Deanna Morae, she's a trustee for a trustee for Re-Energized Sanctuary in Nora, Indiana. She has spent 30 years dedicating to healing herself of the overwhelming childhood trauma and abuse that she experienced. To that end, she has studied, practiced, and immersed herself in every modality, book training, and healing event she could manage. And that time, she had gathered a great deal of knowledge and skill to help herself and others. Her biggest shift she had experienced in all her efforts came as a result of visiting the energy enhancement system. And then she decided to dedicate herself to that work, to that system, because she believes her life wouldn't have been, shouldn't have been so hard and for so long, but she finally had some results from this. And since then, she had just dedicated her life because she got so much results from that. Her experiences created a compassion and dedication to helping others when she could, and she is grateful to be able to use her tragedy and experience to help others triumph, have a triumphant experience. So we are so happy to have her here, even though it took us an hour and 30 some odd minutes to get this thing to. And even now, I'm scared to move anything. Uh, I'm going to leave everything alone because I don't even want to touch anything else, because it's taken us so long to finally get this thing to work. And so even when you come back to listen, you just come back and say replay. This was supposed to happen at 8 o'clock, but I was determined it was not going to defeat us. And I was glad she was patient enough to continue on with this battle. We were having so many technical, but we had them earlier when we tried to bring on, but we went in a back way. It will work. And it didn't work. Well, it did work. And so we're here now. So we're just so happy to have her here. So Deanna, tell us a little bit about, now I just read your bio, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself as well? Just give us a little bit more.
Let's see. I live in Indianapolis, and we opened the sanctuary a year ago in January. I can't believe it's been one whole year. And honestly, I have to say, this is the most rewarding work I've ever done. Of all of the careers and everything I've ever done, this brings me more joy and makes me happier, because I can see, I love how it feels when people leave and you can see that they feel better, lighter, different, happier, etc., because that feels like doing something valuable. It feels like making a difference. And that's what makes me the most happy, because like it said in the bio a little bit, I really, what I've been through and what I've tried to do to heal myself and what I've tried to do to work on recovering and overcoming some of that stuff has been just unreasonably difficult for an unreasonably long period of time. Because when I first started realizing how bad the abuse had and all the things I had experienced had affected me as 24 or so, And they didn't even really think that PTSD was a thing for women if they hadn't been in the military.
Oh, wow.
And so they just tried to give me other diagnoses that weren't accurate, but they tried to put me in all kinds of other holes. Oh, you have multiple personality disorder. You have borderline personality disorder. You're, what I can't remember what the other one is. There's another one. And I didn't have any of those. What I had was complex post-traumatic stress, which is very different than just PTSD. And I'll just give it to you real quick, a real brief explanation, because I'm so dedicated to helping other people understand trauma and how it affects people so that we can all be more understanding and compassionate to people who are struggling. So PTSD is this. Your brain takes a snapshot during a moment of trauma and records everything. How it sounded, how it smelled, how it tasted, how it touched, what it looked like, the people in the room, the temperature, the humidity, the kinds of environment you were in, all of that. Your brain takes a picture, snapshot of all of that, and then walks it all the way down 30 floors below into the basement of the subconscious, locks it in a vault behind a great big door that we don't have the code to, and then our lives are operated according to the reactions
That
of
snapshot.
that snapshot.
What do you remember? What do you remember?
Right?
Oh, wow. That's pretty, and just to have that kind of knowledge, because sometimes we are a property of our experiences, our paradigm, what other people have put on us. And sometimes we don't know why we are the way we are. Well, we may not understand it until we go back and look. And sometimes we've gone through experiences and we don't know how to heal those experiences until we know how. And some people never know how. Some people they live a very sad life because like I said, the trauma. But this is not just about trauma. This was her experience, you guys. So I don't want you to get locked in just thinking this is trauma. You said you text me something. I didn't get it.
I texted you something. It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat. Oh,
It's in
okay.
the Zoom chat. So,
It's in Zoom.
EES,
Okay.
energy enhancement system isn't about trauma, but it is just me giving you an understanding of how it is I came to this work, right? How it is I came to be so dedicated to, get the loan and make the place and get the equipment and put all of the chairs in that everybody can sit in, relax, lay down, and really experience the frequencies and the transformation that's possible. All of that came from what happened for me, which was going to an EE system that was over 4 hours away. And after I went and I found such a profound shift for me after years and years and years of complex.
Okay. Let's first explain because you're giving your experience, which is great. But I want you first, so people won't get lost in this whole shuffle here. EE system, what's the definition of that?
Energy enhancement system. And it was invented by Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. And it is a scalar wave field. Now, what is that? That's physics. And that's physics that was discovered actually by Nicholas. I have to laugh. There are so many people who are like, I've heard them say things like, oh, I don't know about that new age stuff. I'm not very interested in that. And I have to laugh because I find it humorous. This is not new age. In fact, this is so old age, it's over 100 and some years old, but Nikola Tesla didn't have the ability to bring it forward because he didn't have the lab and the funding, et cetera. So he discovered it back in the late 1800s.
Okay, so we know it's definitely not an old system, but for people, it still seems new because this is all to my energy and healing and all that. They don't have any idea. That's why I said we wanted to bring this information because average people just don't really know what an EE system is. And when you talk about energy and it's doing this, doing that, they have no idea. So it seemed like new way.
The energy enhancement system actually combines a couple different technologies, but it starts with I think the most powerful part of it is the scalar wave field that's being created. And I'll walk you in there in just a minute and I'll just show you in the video a little bit about it, right? But that scalar field, what happens is the towers that are opposing each other in each corner, those towers are broadcasting a frequency, and it's broadcasting it, and it's perfectly aligned, like very detailed in its alignment, so that those fields collide in the center of the room and kind of explode. Now you can't see anything, it's all invisible explosion. But so both corners are directing a frequency at each other, and then explodes in the middle of the room and creates this field. And the scalar field is what is so beneficial to the body, because when it hits the body and penetrates the body, it's causing it to trigger the body to heal itself in new ways that it hasn't been able to do before. So
Okay.
that's super exciting because of how it works.
Okay, yeah, and it sounds very interesting on how it all works. So this system, the scalar system, the energy system, energy enhancing system. So this system was created, Miss Sandra, who created this system. What was the reasoning behind? I hear she's a genius on top of all that, but what was the reasoning for her to create? Because what I heard that it's just now was put out for people like you and myself to be able to get a system if you want it. But for the longest time, it was under lock and key through NASA. What was the
I've never actually heard any of that. I took several classes from Dr. Sandra in live, right? And she explained it like this. She was working very hard to one-on-one. I think she was living in Hawaii at the time, if I understand correctly. And she was working with people and trying to heal people one at a time. And she said that she had this prayer that she said to God. She's like, God, we got a whole world to heal, and there's too many people. I'm gonna need something that's gonna work a whole lot faster than one-on-one.
Oh,
So
I love that. Okay.
right. So then she ended up creating the energy enhancement system, and it combines the scalar wave field and also light, because it's really important that you have all colors in the spectrum of light. So letting the lights from the screens penetrate your skin is helpful. And then it also has a prayer that's scrolling constantly, that has all of the best things in it, asking for wholeness and complete healing from top to bottom. The prayer is probably hours and hours long, and it's scrolling all the time. So it's a collection of all of those three different ways of helping to affect the body. So do you want me to walk in so you can see a little bit of it?
Well, I am, but not yet. I'm gonna want them to answer. We're gonna answer a few more questions, and then we're gonna go inside because I want you guys to see her center as well. So, well, you know what? We can ask you questions while you walk in there. Go ahead. You can. Yeah, let's take us on a tour. We can at least do that. Yeah, let's go for a tour. So she's gonna take you into her center. It's her energy enhancement center, and she's gonna take you so you get a chance uh to visually see what we're talking about. I had the wonderful experience to stay all night there with a group of us a few months ago. And so, okay, explain what we're looking at there.
So this is we have 24 units, so there's 6 different screens, and each of the screens is, like I said, aligned to the one that's across the room. So this top screen that's blue, that is rolling and must match this screen and this screen over here. Okay. And then it
Okay,
has
you
to
said
match
it
this
must
one.
match. Why must it match?
They're all running the same program, the same frequency, the same colors, so that
Mhm.
they're working as a set of 4, right?
Okay.
So each set of 4 screens is set to a different
Frequency.
right, a different frequency, a different coding, a different way of affecting and triggering different things in the body, mind, soul, spirit, etc. So each one of these has got a different setting on it, but all 4 screens that are on the same level must have the exact same setting so that they're
Okay.
working together. So what we have right now is, with 6 screens, we have 6 different programs, 6 different frequencies running at all times. Okay.
Okay.
That's what's happening. We have 6. So we can
Okay.
change those. And we're doing something pretty exciting for Valentine's week. And that is, we are setting the frequencies on all of the screens to all of the love settings. So love, issues of the heart, happiness and joy, broadcasting love and light. So when people come in this week, they're just being bathed in love frequencies. So it's kind of a fun little experiment to see how that feels.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. So depending on why a person is there, like if a person is mentally challenged or they have a lot of pain in their body or they're um like I said, love, whatever, you can change your frequencies to match what that need is. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's different frequencies that target different things. And what's happening right now with these settings is that all of these screens are scrolling through all of the frequencies all the time. So maybe let's say they're scrolling through the frequencies every minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, depends on the settings. So that one will scroll through all the frequencies of love and supportive healing and enlightenment and all of that all the time. So it's always scrolling through those. So right now, you're getting people who are coming in are getting bathed in all 14 frequencies as it's rotating through all the time. And like I said, we can change the settings, but what we were doing was just experimenting with how it feels to be bathed in just love frequencies. And then how does it feel to be bathed in just enlightenment and raising your vibration and frequency settings. So we're going to be doing some experiments where people can come in and see how it feels to just do different things. So that's what the screens look like. And that gives you an idea. And, I think sometimes people look at it and it's like, what is that going to do? And to be honest, I thought that myself. When I went down to Lexington and I first was introduced to the system, I'm like, I'm just going to go in there and sit down. They're like, yeah. I'm like, you don't have to hook up anything. Nope. Just go sit down in the room. You're not going to change anything for anybody. Nope. You just go sit down in that room and you just take a nap. You just relax. No problem. And I go sit and we sit in one of these zero gravity chairs, right? And you just relax and you sort of stare at the screens and you're like, what's this supposed to do? That's how I felt. Like, what the heck is this supposed to do? It doesn't make any sense. But the longer I sat there, I noticed I felt calmer. And I noticed I was just a little tired here and there. And I was a little curious. But most of all, I had long haul COVID. It was affecting every joint, muscle, and bone in my body. And I was in a lot of pain. And it had been going on for 6 months by the time I went to the Zenergy, which is in Lexington, and they are the most beautiful people. If you're in Lexington area and you want to go experience a system, definitely go to the Zenergy. They're beautiful people. But I sat in the room, and that very first 2 hours that I sat there, I got out of the chair and I was 50% better. And when you have long haul COVID and everything hurts just to move, just to get out of a chair, it was awful. And so that was like, woohoo, 2 hours. It was notable. It was so different in only 2 hours.
It's a question for me right there. So you experienced your first time going, like you said, all right, what's this going to do? But you had already researched this energy enhancement system, because that's why you were there, to bring change in your body and your health and things like that. So when you sat down and you were able to experience in 2 hours, you had some amazing transformation with your way you felt. Doing that, how long did that pain stay away? How long did that stay out of your body, or how long were you feeling those results?
Oh, I just continued to get better and better.
Oh, okay. So it continued. It never went back to that point. You just continued getting better.
No, I continued to improve. The effects in a scalar field are cumulative. So you come once and your body starts getting the energy that it needs. It starts operating a little bit more smoothly, a little bit more appropriately as way it's supposed to. And then you go back the next time and you get a little bit more dose of energy, and you start feeling your body starts using that energy to heal itself in new ways. So there's a couple of things that the energy enhancement system is known to do that I can share with you for sure. One of them is they've been able to prove that the scalar field, the EE system, it enhances the millivolt, which is the electricity in every one of your 38 trillion cells in your body, right? So that every tiny little cell has a little tiny charge of electricity like a battery. And when a cell is healthy, it's approximately 70 to 90 millivolts.
Mm.
What they've found is cancer seems to thrive at 15 to 20 millivolts.
Mm.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, if cancer thrives at 15 to 20 millivolts, maybe keeping my charge up to that 70 to 90 is the way that I keep my body and my immune system operating in a way that it can fight off cancer by itself. Because all of the energy is up and the immune system is capable when it's fully charged. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it when I think about what they're explaining is happening in my body by recharging those cells. Your whole body.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, what is it that you have that you could ever use that when it's charged to full, it isn't better? A flashlight, your phone, etc. It doesn't
All the
matter what
above.
it is. When your battery is charged up to full, it's always operating better. Your car, everything. So why
Right.
would that be the case with our bodies?
Why would our body not operate better when it's and I do know, like I always say on some of my calls, we're born with 100%, unless there's something wrong. You're normally born with 100% energy. But somewhere as life goes on, we start to lose bits and pieces of that energy. And I know in the medical world, they can't even diagnose how much energy you have lost until you have lost 70% of energy. So that means you're thriving on 30% of energy. So if we can go get re-energized, since medicine is what? Energy. I mean, they said what is can't think of his name right now. He's a scientist. Everybody knows him when I get it in my head. Anyway, he says this medicine is energy, or energy is Einstein. He had a quote about energy being medicine. So that's very interesting. So, all right, so I like that. So you've been having your center for a year, and
Mhm.
you have people to go through it. I'm sure you had a lot of people their first time. Some people have traveled to get there because of what they know about the interim enhancement system.
Oh, yeah.
So you had great results, but I heard you say it's cumulative. So technically, you could go there with some major things wrong and still walk out with uh, already having that first dose and not necessarily feeling anything. But if you continue to come, you're going to notice that things are getting better. Is that right?
Well, Dr. Sandra always repeats a quote that I've heard her say many times, which is the body's designed to heal itself. The
There we
body
go. We
is
say that.
designed
Yeah.
to restore and repair itself all the time. And the only thing that's really getting in the way of our bodies restoring and repairing themselves, in my opinion, is what we eat, what we drink, and what we're breathing that isn't healthy.
Mm,
Here's the question. Thinking about Akana, right? I just finished my 21-day cleanse a couple weeks ago. Nothing but fruits and vegetables every day, right? I noticed that even the aching that I still had after all of the scalar exposures, that aching went down a little more when there wasn't milk and meat and cheese and sugar and all of that stuff in my diet. It was a huge difference. So when we're thinking about how our bodies are going to restore and repair and recover, if we give them the right stuff, the EE system brings the energy. And the other thing that I'll tell you, there's several more things that the energy enhancement system has been able to do and has been shown to do. One of the things that they found is it improves the permeability of the cell. What does that mean? It means that when the cell is like this and it's all like tight and solid, it's hard to get stuff in, right? But when the permeability opens up and now the nutrition can get in and the waste can get out, now your cell is making those exchanges of needing the nutrition, getting the waste out, et cetera, that is better for it. And when you're in the room and you've had a session and you leave, one of the most important things to do is take the detox bath, because as the permeability of the cell opens up, it's helping to release radiation and other toxins that are stored in those cells. When you take that detox bath after you leave within about 24 hours, it draws those toxins out of your body in the bath. You know what I found was very interesting? I thought it was super interesting and super cool. Boron molecules and radiation molecules are very attracted to each other, as I understand it. Like, oh, like you, oh, you're attracted. I like you. You're cute. So they're like getting together, right? So here's the thing. If the radiation is in our bodies and it's starting to move around and get loose because of the permeability of the cell and the way the EE system is helping with that detoxing. And then you get in the bath, the boron molecules are in the bath, the radiation molecules are in your body. They like each other. It draws it out. And then it goes to the drain. So that's part of why the detox bath is so important afterwards, is because now that you've gotten those toxins kind of shaken up and moving around, let's get them out. Right?
Okay. So the toxins kind of go to the float to the top or whatever, and kind of, I don't know if it does that exactly, but where it's up there now. Okay, now let's get them, let's wash these things away. So that's very interesting. So,
so when you improve the permeability of the cell and it allows that exchange of toxins and waste and nutrients in, and when you are able to raise the frequency, the charge in the cells so that they're fully charged up, and now you have the energy you need for your body to operate smoothly. The other thing that they have found in a research paper that I read about a scalar machine, a scalar device that they were testing in 1990, which was not an EE system. It's just a scalar device, right? They were testing it at Max Planck Institute in Germany in 1990. One of the things that they found was the participants were reporting feeling happier, feeling better within about 30 minutes of exposure. What they figured out was within 30 minutes of exposure to the scalar field, people were finding that there was a reduction in the reuptake of serotonin. What does that mean? It was acting like a tricyclic antidepressant without any side effects. So when you asked me a question earlier today, and you said, what should people expect when they come to the sanctuary? What would the average person maybe experience when they come? Here's the things I can tell you for sure. And then I also have to share this one little thing just because it's really important. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure anything at Resenergize. And I'm letting you know that I'm not a medical professional. I am not a doctor or nurse or otherwise. I'm just this gal who has her own experiences and has been watching other people and hearing from them about their experiences for a year. So I just want to make sure you understand that these are based in testimonials, unless there are research reports that I'm quoting to that I've read. Okay. Excuse me. So one of the things that you were asking me about what people should expect, right?
Right.
What I can tell you is most people who come here, they report immediately getting in the room and feeling so much more relaxed. I can tell you why. EMFs, electromagnetic fields, right? That is what we are in. Anytime we are in a building that has wiring running in the walls, it's creating electromagnetic field that is very hard on our bodies. Let me explain why. Everything on our planet has a cyclic electrical signal. That means it shut on, off, right? That's how everything, including the planet. The planet has the Schumann resonance is 8 cycles per second. The planet is operating on an electrical cycle, 8 cycles per second. Okay. The human body is comfortable operating up to 30 cycles per second. Okay. EMFs are at 60 cycles per second. So now here's the thing. I want you to imagine, I always tell people this as an analogy because it makes so much sense so quickly. When
Before
we
you
want
explain EMFs, so in case people don't know, explain the EMFs.
electromagnetic fields, that's where the wiring in your house, the electrical wiring in the house is creating a field that is
Yeah.
actually kind of hard on your body because it
Yeah.
is always pushing it. So when I explain what I was explaining about the cycles, 8 cycles per second for the planet, 30 cycles per second for our bodies, 60 cycles per second for the electromagnetic fields, right? The EMFs. Now, here's what I tell people. Imagine for a moment that you went out and got in your car right now and you had to run an errand. And when you turn the radio on, every one of your favorite songs and favorite stations was playing all of the songs at twice the speed. And you're like, what is going on? And you couldn't get it. You changed the channel. All of the channels are playing twice the speed. You're like, okay, I can't deal with this. I'm going to put my audiobook in. And your audiobook is like, and she never even story like, and it's telling you the story at twice the speed. You're like, I cannot process that information at twice the speed. It would only take a day or two of every bit of media you're listening to being at twice the speed that you would just be running for the hills going, shut it off, just turn it off, because you couldn't handle it.
Right,
Imagine that is what our body is living through
going through
every day. Now, when you want to ask yourself, what is an EMF and why do I even have to worry about it? And why is it a problem for me? I've never even felt it, right? The thing is, when your body's being pushed at twice the speed all the time, trying to just live in an environment that's pushing it, there is some people that talk about that believe totally that is causing extra stress on our immune system, extra wear and tear on our bodies, because it's all our bodies are always trying to keep up with something that's going twice as fast as we're capable.
Right.
And pressure or that strain or stress, whatever you want to call it, of being in that environment all the time is very tiring and very taxing to our physical bodies. When we're in the EE system, all of the EMFs are transmuted when you're in there. So you don't feel that stress. It's a little bit more like being out on a mountaintop somewhere far away from civilization, and how calming that would be. So now when you walk into a system, one of the first things that you ask me is, what should they expect? Most people report feeling a sense of calmness and relaxation very easily. Most people say, it's so comfortable in here. I really like it. It's nice. I feel really calm. That is one of the best side effects I think most people feel right away.
Wow. This is pretty it's pretty interesting. I mean, just to hear what it does. I mean, like I said, we don't have you've been at it for a year. Can we, and I know you said that they actually started this back in the 1800s, but when it came full throttle, when Dr. Sandra created this, how long has it actually, this type of system been out for the average person?
This equipment that she created, as I understand it, she created it 20 years ago, 21 years ago now, probably. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when she first created it and was making them available for sale, most people that were buying them were wealthy individuals who were buying them to put in their homes. So they weren't really commercially available. There weren't very many of them that you could go to a wellness center or a, healing, group or otherwise. There was only 1 or 2 of them all the way back then. And I think it was I think if I recall correctly, the first one was in Hawaii. Okay. So they haven't been commercially available to everybody to just go visit for very long. Maybe the last 6 or 7 or 8 years. And don't quote me on that. I'm just saying.
That's fine.
And so now, after May of last year, when a gentleman went and did an interview with Dr. Sandra at her house and asked all those kind of questions, that interview went kind of viral. And so then everybody wanted to have one, wanted to go to one, wanted to find one. And there was a lot of interest, right, in all of those systems. So then they started to sell because everybody's like, went to one and they're like, okay, this is amazing. And that's exactly what happened for me. When I went to that system and I found that not only my long haul COVID, but also some of the CPTSD and the anxiety and some of the other things that I was experiencing. I had a bigger shift in that first 4-hour session than I had had in all of the work I'd been doing for years. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, if I'm feeling this much calmer than I usually am, I'm actually feeling a little happier than I usually am. This is significant because, I've done all kinds of like therapy, EMDR, ayahuasca journeys, Reiki and chiropractic and just anything, the antidepressants. I tried all of those 20 years ago. I've really made an effort to do everything I could. And all of those things were harder and more difficult and took longer than getting into an EES system took for me to feel a difference. And so when I went home from that very first experience, I'm like, okay, let's do this once a month. And so we started doing an overnight so that we were getting exposed to the frequencies for about 12 hours.
Yeah.
We would go back once a month and do an overnight because 4 hours is a long drive to just go have a 2-hour session.
Right.
To go 4 hours there, 4 hours back, and all of that. I didn't want to do that for a 2-hour session. So we just started booking overnights and going drive 4 hours, sleep overnight,
and then go home. Yeah.
Right. And it was more affordable that way as well.
Right, but definitely. So when people come into the center, because you have such your story is pretty amazing. I'm sure you've had other amazing results from other people since you've been open. I know you've been open a short time, but what would you say to someone who just not like I said, some people, like I said, this is new age, this is new. What would you say to somebody who was in a pain or had some type of, but they just wasn't really feeling this EE system? But what would you say to them to not convince necessarily, but let they can see that this could possibly really make a difference for you? What would you say to that person?
There's a couple of things that I would say because we can't make any promises or guarantees because that's against the law and it's against the FDA and all that business. What I would say is the best thing that you can do is take a look at the testimonials. Take a look at what other people have said has been their experience. And I'll tell you that on heal.me, Resenergize Sanctuary has a listing on heal.me. And I think we have 71 or 72 right now, 5-star reviews from people who've been. And I think we have over 50 testimonials on that website alone. That'll give you a lot of ideas of what kinds of things people have experienced that have made a difference for them. I can give you a couple of those testimonies just because they're things that have been reported to me directly. We had one gentleman that came and stayed overnight for 2 nights. When he went home, he had to lower his insulin by 10 points a day.
Oh, that's wow.
Because amazing. His pancreas started working better and he didn't know why, and nothing else had changed in his life. He came here for 2 overnights. He didn't change his diet. He didn't change his exercise. He didn't change anything else. He's a crusty old guy. I know it, but he's a crusty old guy he was skeptical himself. But family was here and he was like, well, I want to stay here and be close to my daughter because she had recently had surgery. And so he stayed in the room. And when he went home, he was perplexed at why his sugar kept dropping because he kept taking too much insulin.
Oh, wow.
That's only one of the 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do know, and I want to hear your other one too. Like I said, we don't make any claims, but I know a lady personally who was in your EE system. I mean, they stayed all night, and she has, I think it's neuropathy. I guess I shouldn't say the name of the illness, but she has problem walking, and she told me this herself. So I take back I didn't mean to say the name of the disease. I didn't mean to say that, but she had trouble walking, and so the day that she was leaving your center, she said she was waiting because she was going to go on a flight. She came here for a training, and then she went to the EE center with some other people. And the day had made it back to the airport, and she was waiting to get picked up in a cart, right? So as she's waiting, it's getting closer to her time for her flight. They had not come. She's waiting. She didn't want to miss her flight. She says she started just walking towards the gate, walking until she walked all the way to the gate. She said, I could have never. Now, mind you, she just got up from that EE center, got dressed, got cleaned up, went to the airport.
Yep.
She said, I couldn't have done it. Not my feet.
Yesterday.
Not my feet. And she walked through the airport to her gate because, and I guess maybe that was Lord and Divine who did that to show her what just changed in your body, giving it that energy, giving that, making your body health. It gives me chills. I'm sitting over here with chills right now. Because I love those stories. I love, and I had some more, but I just said that was so big for me because I know people with issues with their feet and had some of the same thing that she had. That was huge. And she was just happier than a lot. I mean, she was happy. She was very, 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 very happy.
Now you see why I love my job?
Yes.
Why
Doesn't seem like
wouldn't
a
I
job
just
because it's like,
celebrate?
when you really love what you do and helping other people, this is extraordinary. Um, this is extraordinary. I'm so thankful that the Lord put it on Dr. Sandra to create. Says a lot of people need healing. We need to do it faster than one by one-on-one. Well, and we got other centers. Like I said, I think the opening is going to be before the month is out. And this is in Chicago. So and this is going to be just one of many in different markets. Because we need, like you said, we need to heal a lot of people. And I thank goodness for this young lady who had the heart. It helped her. She said, if it can help me, I want to help. You heard her bio. I want to help other people as well because she had a lot of things that happened to her as a young lady, and to be able to go through all that hell and to be able to now a lot of days to still be able to smile because she had something like this to come into her life. So what is normally the average cost? I know you said that something like that will happen. I know normally people at least 2 hours they come and stay. That normally at least that they can go higher, but they need to at least stay at least 2 hours. Is that right? Okay.
Dr. Sanders always recommends that everybody come for a minimum of 2 hours.
Okay.
Because that is the minimum time that your body can start absorbing all those frequencies and start making some of those changes.
Okay.
Really absorbing that energy and creating the shifts in your body. I'm going to tell you something else that they found in that Max Planck Institute study. One of the things they found was in the lab, the scalar field, the scalar wave, triggered the production of something called ubiquitone. What's ubiquitone? It is the chemical or protein, I'm not sure if it's a chemical or protein, that's involved in DNA repair. Our DNA doesn't normally regenerate at our age. When we're younger, sometimes our DNA will repair itself and heal itself and start regenerating. But at our age, it just isn't as good at repairing. And you know how the DNA strand goes, right? You've got the sort of that coil, right? With that, and it kind of looks like a ladder. Well, each one of those rungs and all of that, sometimes what happens is there's actual chips and damage and pieces that are missing, right? Well, that DNA is actually sort of like the instructions on how to print the next cell. So when those instructions when they're damaged, that means the next cell you're making is being made out of faulty information.
Yeah, wiring.
So what they found was that ubiquitone is triggering the repair of the DNA in this lab study. Well, if anything happens that you come into an EE system and your DNA is triggered to start repairing itself, naturally, all by itself, just because the frequencies are so beneficial to the body, it starts to heal itself. If your DNA is better tomorrow than it was yesterday, now the cells that you make for eyes and knees and toes and skin and lips and hair, all those cells that you're making, they're better tomorrow than they were yesterday.
Yeah. And they were
So one thing I want to say that's important to know is when people come to a session at the EE system, some things you might feel and notice some things right away. But
right.
think about it. If your DNA begins to repair itself for any reason, you're not going to notice those things until you're building new knee cells, until you're building new toe cells, new intestine cells, new ears and eyes and skin, right? So some of the benefits are going to be recognized over time.
Over time. Mhm.
And that's why the cumulative experience really can make a difference, because you're giving your body the energy, you're cleaning out the radiation, right? You're helping to trigger your body to repair or improve your DNA, and you're getting the electricity you need for it to operate better. And then you go home and you start noticing things just seem to feel better. You know what? The one thing I think is interesting, though, it's so much easier to notice when you get more pain, when you have more problems.
Oh, when you see,
But when we find that things are starting to disappear, we almost forget. It's like, oh,
it's so yeah, so
my foot
solid.
isn't, you know what? I didn't even realize that my foot hasn't been hurting, because somebody asks you, how are your feet doing? Oh, my feet? What do you mean? Oh,
Yes.
last time I was here, you said you could hardly walk.
In a while.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
love that, because it disappeared, right?
Right.
That's one of the things that I have seen as well, is people kind of forget what they
right,
have.
right.
It's one of
So-
the reasons that we're going to start offering people sort of a form to fill out for themselves, not for us, to just self-evaluate.
Right.
And the little questionnaire is just going to say, evaluate before you get started. How's your sleep? How's your mood? How's your energy? How is your aches and pains, or do you have any? How's your stamina for, making it through the whole day? How is your, your mental sharpness?
Clarity. Yeah.
So if we give you that form and you fill it out for yourself,
Right.
and then you take it home and you think, okay, so then you evaluate the day you go home, and then you evaluate again in a week or two. That's when I think people will start to notice kind of what has changed, is when you take note of it and write it down, and then check again for yourself.
I know exactly what you mean. Because some things can happen so seldom. You don't even, it happens. Like I remember, well, this is product that I was taking, and I had knots on my thumb, and just different things. A big old thing was growing up on my leg after I did my knee surgery, and it would wake me up all the time, just in pain, pain, pain. And then one day I was getting dressed for work church, and I looked at my hand, and I'm like, go. And I'm like, when's the last time it woke me up? I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize it had gone, because it happens just kind of just disappeared. And so what'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what that reminds me, is that I love that when you said that, I said, that's going to be great, because they will always just say, write down everything that you think is wrong with you. But then what we used to say, because it can happen so it's just so, it's like, it's just a smooth, it's just a little bit, like this goes away, a little bit, this goes away. And you don't even notice it until maybe, like you said, somebody brings it up, or you just happen to notice it. That's why we used to say, write down everything that you can think of that's wrong with you. And then go, and every month or every few weeks, look at that list. What can you check off? What can you check off? Better
Right.
sleep, better energy, less pain. I can see whatever that thing is. Because you said something very important earlier, and because you mentioned that you did the cleanse, and you're going to get a lot of better results. I will say this is what I do know. You're going to get better results if you eat a bunch of junk, and you drink a bunch of junk, and you're not cognizant of what you put in your gut and gut health. You may have results, but you're not near going to have the results you could have because if you're going through all this, why would you not want to do better for your body? I'm just saying.
You know what Dr. Sandra says? She says it all the time. She says, stop eating barcode foods.
Come on.
Okay, so if you're eating something that has a barcode, and I don't mean the stickers on the fruits and
Yeah.
vegetables, but the box, the barcode foods, if you're eating something that's got a barcode on it and it's not natural, she said that's killing
Put
you.
more, yeah, it's putting more crap back in your body. What you were just trying to take, you're steadily putting it right back in your body. Now, do we
Right.
expect everybody to just make this change like overnight? No. But starting to being cognizant, being conscious of what you're putting in your body, because when you do that, you're going to start noticing better and better changes for your health. You're going to feel better. I mean, that energy is going to start coming. I'm telling you, this was a long time coming tonight. Deanna, it was a long, we had went through heck in a basket. I said, I am not giving up now. So I don't know if you go to the replay on this, please type replay, because this has got to get out. People start need to utilize this center. People need to utilize this center. And do you think, let me ask you this, Deanna, do you think as long as a person is breathing, you know, if they have the worst things going on with them, like I said, we can't make any promises. We can't make any diagnosis and treat, you know, any of that. But the worst thing, you know, coming in that center, it's a possibility it could help them.
There's a lot
Wow.
of possibilities. And here's the thing I want you to know. The EE system is definitely the star of the show. However, we have a lot of tools here that we share because there's more than just the EE system that can really make a huge difference. So
Right.
we have the scalar wave field center, the scalar wave field in there that's helping. We also have something called a beamer, which is improves blood flow like you cannot, 30% more blood flow. Okay.
Right.
Causing naturally 30% more blood flow by this PEMF device that's triggering this this contractions in the capillaries and the smaller, and so it helps move the blood flow, and it doesn't tax the heart anymore at all. It actually relieves the pressure on the heart because now it's helping to move the blood flow. So we have the beamer here that helps with blood flow. We have a brain tap, which helps with hypnotherapy and PTSD and, you know, all kinds of other things of getting the hypnotherapy to help rewire the brain. We have a device called Cenar, SCENAR, which is a miracle box, if you ask me. I bought 2 of them because I couldn't live without it. It was so effective at helping me overcome pain. I've never seen anything like it. And so we have that here. We have a biomat, which I'm sure if you've ever heard of that one, it's an amethyst mat that makes far infrared, heat, and negative ions. So there are a lot of tools that we have here along with the nutrition, along with what the Akana products are doing. We also have, we make sure and carry machines that help us to have the cleaner water. Right? Yep. We have the high alkaline, hydrogen infused water that it tastes good and it's clean.
I remember you guys were passing it out while we were there, you know.
Absolutely.
Drinking the water, we were passing it out. I know, you know, we always talk about the bioscans and things like that. And it's very interesting to see if a person did a scan, because it was 85 to 95% accurate. Did a scan prior to going. It's almost like writing down everything, because sometimes you don't even know what's happening within the cells. Many times we don't know what's happening within the cells of our body. They grow to split, they regenerate. We don't know what's been broken off, what's been harmful. We don't know any of that, because you remember you just mentioned about how these cells, you know, and so having that scan, going in that room and wait a little while, do another scan, see the thing, and from a cellular standpoint, how it can change. You have an amazing thing there, young lady. Amazing thing. And I'm so thankful that we found you. We found you. And
you know how much I would love to have a whole field of people come in for a 2-hour session and have you do the bioscan, have them go in and sit down for 2 hours and then come back and then do the next person. And so we would just time each person for how long it took for them to get their bioscan and then get in the chair. And
Yeah,
then
because
take them at the same 2-hour increment and do the bioscan when they leave and just get an idea. Do you know what else I wanted to do? I want to hire somebody who does the aura cameras,
oh, I
right?
don't know. Yeah,
There's a couple different cameras we can get. One of them is an aura camera and the other one is a thermography camera. If I can find a person who has them and pay them to come in, I would like to do a before and after. Thermography images are, in my opinion, they're infinitely better than having those, what do you call it when they put your breasts in between two plates and smash it?
oh, smash that. We having a mammogram.
Mammogram.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have one of those to save my life. I wouldn't.
yeah,
Because what I did do is I went and had a thermography image done, and it is far more sensitive. And as I understand it, it's capable of detecting any kind of breast cancerous material far in advance of those mammogram ones. And
that
in
makes a lot.
Italy, there's somebody in Italy who has said their research, they've stopped doing mammograms. If I understood correctly what was being reported, they stopped doing the mammograms because they said, what you're doing is you're taking a breast that has a nugget in it that the body has put a hard shell around it because it doesn't know what to do with it or can't address it right now. So it puts a
Right.
hard shell around that little cancerous bit. And what we're doing is we're putting the breast in between two plates and smashing that little hard nugget, and now
Yeah,
it's open.
open. Yeah,
And they were
yeah,
saying, and the report that I read said they felt that the process of smashing those things open is actually spreading the cancer
the cancer.
instead
That's what
of
I. That's
protecting
how.
us. So the thermography image can be read so much more deep into the tissues, so much more sensitive. If we can get the right practitioner to come in and do thermography images
Yeah.
before
Oh
and
my
after,
God.
wouldn't that be cool?
Girl, you got some things going on
The
with your schedule.
bioscan before and after. So
Yes.
we should just figure out how we can schedule a night where people can reserve time with
Yeah.
you, do the
Yeah.
bioscan, and then go in and do the EE
We're
system.
gonna definitely schedule that with her. You guys, if you live in the Indianapolis area, you need to reach out. We're gonna give you her number, and can you put your number in the chat? And Deanna, and your or either the name of your Google, yeah, Google her area, and
I do want
yeah.
to tell you this one thing. We're doing the love frequencies this week from
Oh, good.
today until next Saturday, the entire
Okay.
Valentine's week, not just Valentine's
Okay.
Day. We're doing the love frequencies, and anybody who comes this week, it's a buy one, bring your love for free.
Oh, that's lovely. What a better gift you can give is a gift of help. What a better gift is that, you know? So, okay, guys. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up because we started so late. And I'll probably be bringing her back on because I don't know. If you're watching this and can you just type and say replay so we can know that you guys did see this information? I'm going to spread it on different platforms. Um, but this was just this EE system. It's no joke because they do use it in Nassau. I remember reading that or hearing her talk about that, and I was thinking that maybe I misunderstood because I thought that's where they were using it at first before they started allowing just other people, not just everyday people, layman people to be able to use it. I had thought I had read that or heard her say that when
I
the
think
government
that
reached
might
out to
be,
her.
that sounds like something I've heard about the med beds, but it isn't something that I've heard Dr. Sandra talk about. She made these available and they were mostly going to private clients in their private homes
Hmm.
until it kind of went viral. And now there are more and more and more centers that are publicly available.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine wants to do one, and he's almost blind, but he said, I'm gonna keep on until I'm able to get it because he wants to restore his sight. And just so, I
Is
mean,
he
I'm just
close
saying,
by?
no, he's in California. Oh, I would have been bringing him a long time ago. He's in California, so he's definitely doing his research, doing his best to get one started there. So, guys, this is Miss Deanna Morae. She's an amazing young lady. So thankful that she has the center. And I know I'm gonna be spending more time there because I got some things within my body I want to have
Sooner than rather
reversed.
than later, young lady.
Reversed.
Sooner rather than later, young lady. You
Yeah,
get yourself
yeah,
in there.
exactly. Sooner than later. Sooner than later. So actually, real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. Have you ever heard, I mean, have you had any testimonials where because I was just talking to a young lady today that came to class, and she said her fiance is in a wheelchair, man, because his knees are bone on bone. And he just had some kind of hand surgery as well. And and I don't know if you ever heard of it, happen to regenerate tissue back like from your the cartilage, anything like that. You ever heard of anything like that as it's doing? Or
Um, I haven't heard necessarily of whether or not that's happening with EE system. I know that there are a lot of people who are finding that, like I said, over time, your body
Yeah,
starts to regenerate, and the
regenerate.
cumulative experience helps with all of those things. But I will tell you, I did hear about a gentleman who was who had a Beamer, who was waiting for hip surgery, and during COVID, he couldn't get in to get his surgery.
Okay.
And so he just kept using his Beamer every day like he was supposed to do. When they finally opened up the hospitals and you could go in for what they call elective, I can't imagine that a hip replacement is elective. But when he did finally go in to get his hip replaced, the doctors came out and apologized that the surgery was taking so long, extra long, more than usual. And he said he just couldn't figure it out because he had to carve a whole bunch more cartilage out of the joint before he could put the new hip in.
Oh,
So
wow.
blood flow seems that it had
Help
started to
that.
help the body regenerate where it needed it just from the blood flow from the Beamer. So that was his experience, was that he was like, the doctor had a hard time carving out all the new
All that.
cartilage that
Oh
was
my
in
God.
the joint.
Wow. 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 Well, hey.
That's why I said there's more than the
Yeah.
EE system, and the scalar field is the star, but we
Yeah.
have more than that here.
Other things.
We can
Yeah.
help people with.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love it. I so apologize for all the crazy. She was in the midst of it. Guys. We were like, let's try this. Let's try this. But
You know
but
what?
we
We'll
got
just
it.
have to schedule another visit because we have
We're gonna
20 some
schedule
things to
another
talk about.
visit. And so I don't know how many of you guys gonna see this, but at least we got it out there. I am gonna share it. When you get on your page, share it, share it, share it. People need to hear this information. They need to know that you're close. If you're in Indianapolis and are close around, you just if you're an hour away, you can still drive. And she used to drive 4 hours away to get to because she knew she was being helped. She knew she was being helped. And so people were driving. I've heard people book sessions and these things. They'll go and they'll book a week out, a week in advance. They'll book a week, 2 weeks to stay because it's helping them. And of course, people with the money, they build them in their home, in their businesses. So, until if you don't have it like that, then go to a center. That's what I'm telling you. Go
And
to a
you know
center.
what? Next time we have a chance to chat,
Yeah.
and also please check out some of the things on TikTok, because I'm going to start sharing on TikTok with Re-Energized Sanctuary. I'm going to start sharing my entire story, my entire journey with
Oh,
EE
yeah.
and
That,
with scalar field.
that journey is it's gonna change a lot of lives. Yeah, that journey is gonna change a lot of lives. So, guys, thank you so
Can
much.
I
I
tell
sure
you one other
appreciate.
thing? One thing real quick. Number
Okay.
one, I want you to know that if we have veterans that are anywhere around this city that can get here, we offer veterans free 2-hour session twice a month. We
Awesome.
also offer women who are what we call striving to thrive, right? Women who have been violated, molested, raped, abused, beaten, trafficked, etc. If those women contact me directly, I will help create an opportunity and an account for them so that they can also come twice a month for 2-hour sessions for free.
I
I
love
think
that.
the most
I love it.
important thing that we can do is to help the most at-risk people in our communities. And I don't, if I didn't tell you, let me say it now. I think I did say it once, but just remember, that people who are suffering can be harder to love and they have less love to give. So if we want to create more love in our communities, we have to start by relieving suffering, because people naturally want to give the love that's in their hearts and souls when they have the energy to do so. But when pain is overwhelming, it makes us grouchy. It makes us difficult to love. It's hard. So if we want more love in the world, we have to find ways to help reduce the suffering.
Reduce that suffering. Oh, you couldn't have ended with a better note. So thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. This was amazing. And it was worth the wait, even though it was crazy, but it was worth it. And we're gonna definitely bring her back, and it won't be long because and this time we get on, it's gonna be very smooth. I had to change my settings on my thing because I know it's something with that too. So we're gonna change that. I had somebody mess around with my Facebook a few months ago, and things have not been quite the same. So, but we're gonna get that straight now. And I'm just so thankful she was patient enough. I didn't throw my computer out the window. I kept it in, and because I was ready to. But so yeah, so please share this information. Again, thank you, darling. And like I said, we will be coming back. We will be bringing you back on very soon. Okay. So you have a good night. You guys have a good night. Appreciate you. All right. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, bye.
Bye. See you soon.
All right.